Hi there, I'm going to show you how to make butter using this with one of these close at hand. Right, obviously I've got a hedge behind me, so I've just made this in my back garden, but you can make this on cam because I've got a video where I've made some butter. I've also then smoked my own cheese and made my own cheese biscuits and had a light lunch. And then the buttermilk that I saved with that, I made a Bannock, which I've also done in this video as well. The two ingredients I showed you were double cream and fine crystal sea salt. What we're going to do is put about half of this size container in the bowl. I'm going to warm the bowl first, I find that works quite well. And then what we're going to do to pair it is use a hand, just doing this, like a sort of 1950s kind of royal wave. Okay, I'm guessing that's about half. Now what I do is put the salt in, just a little smidge, just before we start. Because I find that if you put it in as you've made the butter, it's a little bit harder to get it blended in. It tastes a bit too salty in patches. And then you just get your hand in like this. I'll come back to you when something's happened, because there are several different stages. Now this is the first stage. You'll probably recognise if you've made a sponge cake and put whipped cream through the middle. You can see now it's not very runny, and as I touch it, it's forming peaks. But we haven't finished yet, but you have broken the back of it. Now this is the next stage. This looks like a scrambled egg. It's gone slightly lumpy and it's effectively over whipped cream now. It took me about 2.5 minutes to get to the first stage, and this was about a minute later. Still not there, but we are so close. Right, you can now see quite clearly that the buttermilk is now issuing. This means we are super close. So I'll just give this a little bit more of a beating, and then we've got to just try and get as much of that out as we can. But we're not going to waste that, we're going to use it. So I think I've reached the consistency I want. That is effectively butter, but if you don't get this buttermilk out, it's runny, doesn't last as long, and it just tastes like solid cream really. So what we're going to do is drain that off. I'm just going to keep working this pat until I get as much out as possible. Let's give it a little squeeze. And just do this for a couple of minutes. And so, this is what you'll be left with. Your butter and your buttermilk. I did an extra batch to fill this up, so I reckon I've used about 200 millilitres of the cream. And then with the buttermilk, I mean, you can use it from everything from lollies to doing fried chicken, but I'm going to do a little equivalent of a campfire bread with mine. So to make my campfire bannock, I'm going to be using golden castor sugar, self-raising flour, the aforementioned buttermilk, and I've got some chopped hazelnuts there and some sultanas. You can obviously do whatever you want with them, but you just basically make a dough up that's not too dry and too sticky, and one that you can form into a patty and either cook on a rock or in a pan, as I'm going to do, or even on the embers. Right, there we go. That's alright. Get that nice and flat and we'll get that in the pan. Well, actually there's something else I'm going to put on the stove first. Right, I've got my second brew there. Lightly grease this, gas is on, and we'll get that in and cook in. Make it nice and flat there so it cooks quickly. And that's the sort of colour you're looking for, just like that.